Hey everybody, off the top rope here, off the Mike Sports Network. Listen, I haven't actually, talked extensively about the Jon Moxley title run that has transpired over the last, since October. So we're going on about 6 months now. Um, Listen, um, I try to not get hyperbolic here. Um, Maybe I make some bold statements in this segment or in some of my sports content. But this is the worst title run for a major professional wrestling company ever. This is the worst title run ever. I'm not exaggerating when I say that because he is surrounded by a group that consistently gets no heat or, it's go away, get off our television. He has had several consecutive bad performances, bad televised title matches, like bad pay-per-view title matches, bad televised on free television. We talked about the street fight with Adam Copeland, but multiple main events since he beat Bryan Danielson at Wrestle Dream. The Full Gear match against Orange Cassidy wasn't great. It was overbooked to fuck. You've got the Fatal Four-Way at World's End that didn't work. Then you had the Revolution match that we talked about extensively that I hated that finish, which turned into a bogus, cacophony of errors there. And then the Swerve Strickland match was just like the icing on the cake when you had a convenient exit strategy, exit ramp, and yet for some reason AEW is still banking on, oh, this is a great title run. People are interested in the Death Riders. They want to see Jon Moxley get conquered. I was like, you had a believable guy who could take the championship, and you could have just ended this godforsaken run that is sucking every bit of life out of the company. Like, let me give you guys numbers before you guys tell me that I'm full of shit. So if you look at the numbers for AEW Dynamite since, okay, so we'll call it quarter four, significant decline on average for viewership. It went up slightly in quarter one of 2025, and now in quarter two, we're under 600,000 viewers. And it'll be interesting to see when the ratings come out on Thursday, what these numbers are coming off of that, horrendous ending to the pay-per-view dynasty. Because now here's what's happening. I can tell you what is going to happen moving into, Double or Nothing, and then moving into All In. What is going to happen is at Double or Nothing, there is going to be anarchy in the arena involving the Death Riders of some kind with the ops, and they'll probably pair some things together. Will Ospreay, Hangman, I don't think will be involved in that because I think they'll be wrestling in the final for the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Swerve Strickland could potentially be involved in that. Young Bucks, like there's going to be some sort of anarchy in the arena that's going to main event that show. Jon Moxley, I do not think is going to defend the world title at Anarchy at Double or Nothing or Anarchy in the arena. So that's going to take this title run past like 200 days, and we're getting close to that year-long territory. I think he is going to lose it at All In. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If they want to take this past All In and go back to Wrestle Dream, if they're going to have, and I didn't even check if Wrestle Dream was going to be back in Seattle. Maybe they give it to Darby Allin because that's what we thought was going to be the initial thing. But my whole issue with Jon Moxley in this iteration, and this is his fourth run as AEW World Champion. There are so many things that have been wrong with this title run. First off, the group sucks. Jon Moxley speaks in riddles. The Jon Moxley that I got to know as Dean Ambrose and then early Jon Moxley in AEW, that's gone. And him as a heel, it's just not worked with this Death Rider shtick. It's not interesting. It's not cool. It's not, getting any really substantial form of heat. It's really like fans just want this to end. They feel like it's every time you get a Death Rider segment, it's literally death. So the other part of this, and I've talked about this extensively, more so than a lot of people in the IWC, in this community, the fact that that world title has not been seen since October is an atrocity. That is an atrocity. And you may snicker at me and basically say, Mike, that's not that big of a deal. It's part of the character. Guys, the world championship means something. It should not be held in a briefcase. even if you're trying to prove some of this self-righteous point about how nobody deserves to see it, and the people in AEW suck, and hey, nobody's measured up to him. He's the standard. Somebody's got to beat the piss out of him to take the title away from him. But this ain't Money in the Bank, guys. Like, this isn't try to find a contract in a briefcase. This is the world title that we have not seen. Remember how much we hated when Brock Lesnar was holding on to the world title and was only making about 4, 5, 6 appearances on television per year, or few title defenses. He held it for like 600 days, and we didn't see the world title on television on a week-to-week basis. That's kind of what this feels like. The only difference is Jon Moxley is there every single week. So not only is the title run itself bad with the title defenses, but you don't even get to see the world championship, which is supposed to be the most prized possession in your company. So none of this, and then none of these angles and all of it's the same thing. It's almost like they're trying to rehash what made the bloodline interesting with all these like overbooked finishes and like, all of these run-ins. But it's really just, run-ins and violence for the sake of violence. At least with the bloodline, there was interesting plot points with Jay getting involved, or, they got a little bit crazy when Jimmy cost Jay at SummerSlam a couple years back. But like, it's almost like AEW is like taking the whole criticism of themselves of saying, yeah, hey, you guys don't do long-term storytelling. And they've tried to, make this thing stick for as long as they could. And every single way, it's also like some of these overbooked finishes, like what they did with the Young Bucks, or the Christian thing. It hasn't made Jon Moxley look strong. It's made him look completely weak. So you don't have a strong champion. The faction sucks. It takes the life out of the thing, and you don't see the World Heavyweight Championship at all for the entire run. You don't even see the guy displaying or holding the world title. I don't care if that's part of the gimmick. The world title fucking matters. So this is the worst title run that I've ever seen in any major promotion of professional wrestling. It's the worst one, because, at least when Brock Lesnar was around, he would show the title off and, defend it. And, yes, it was an object, really, but what has been gained? What star has been made? That's the other part of this. What has been gained from this title run? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like, we have a long-term conclusion, and no matter what the payoff is, nobody is going to care. And I've given you the numbers that from quarter to quarter, this show keeps going down. And you could tell me about the social media metrics and stuff. Guys, whoop-de-doo. Somebody got 1 million on social media, okay? CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, they're doing that in their sleep in WWE in like hours, not in like a course of like a week or so. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I saw some people clipping off a Willow Nightingale, the match that the mixed tag that she had with Swerve against Marina and Jon Moxley, and you were like, oh, it got over 1 million. It was like, do you guys realize that people love Willow Nightingale? People love Willow Nightingale. So, I mean, maybe that's part of the issue. Maybe that's part of the success rate of that clip. And part of the problem is, nobody really cares about Jon Moxley unless he's doing something batshit insane crazy, and that gets clicks. And the whole any publicity is good publicity. It's like, I've spoken to you guys about how grotesque that spot was against Copeland. Like, what are we talking about here? Guys, this is the worst title run that we've ever seen. And we're gonna get at least 3 more months of this thing, because it's not ending until July, until Globe Life Field at the earliest. Because I don't think that title's getting defended at Double or Nothing. Maybe we'll have something on free television at some point that's a thrown together title match, but he's not losing the title. And the fact that this company is actually sticking to their guns and saying, hey, we like the metrics and we like what we've seen. What are you guys looking at? Why are you lying to us? Why are you lying to us? This sucks. This sucks. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.